Hello, hello, wonderful humans. Welcome to today's virtual open day. My name is Katerina. I'm co-founder of Future London Academy, and I will be your host today, sharing all sorts of interesting things. Are you ready to hear a story? Because I'm here to tell you a wonderful story about a magical place called Bauhaus. I'm sure a lot of you heard about Bauhaus because it was one of the most iconic schools that existed in Germany over 100 years ago, and was not just a place to learn, but also the place to get inspired, to meet great people. And it created obviously a lot of famous pieces of art and a lot of things that we see around in the world that we admire. Now, the story behind Bauhaus is actually very interesting. So 1919 was a very interesting time in design history. So it was the time of industrialization. So the big factories were being built. Everything was getting faster. The big machines are producing more and more stuff. And design and creative community was getting a bit anxious. What does it mean for us as creatives if we're not crafting our perfect chair for months and years to present it to the client? If someone can manufacture thousands of plastic chairs in a second, what does it mean that we are not putting all of our heart and soul in every material and things can be done so fast and so cheap? Do we even have a place in the world of design, in the world of this new kind of industrialization? Obviously, long story short, you probably know the answer to this question. Design did not disappear in 1919, and it actually produced a lot of beautiful, wonderful results that came out of Bauhaus, because essentially what Bauhaus decided it is we have a place for design, but it needs to be rethought. It needs to be changed. If the industry is changing, the world is changing, if everything is uncertain, if everything is faster, then we as creatives, as designers need to change. Does this sound familiar to you? Maybe it does, because obviously we live in the world of AI and a world of rapid changing world where things are changing whether we want it or not. And as creatives, as designers, it feels very difficult to understand what is our role in this world. If everyone can go to Midjourney and produce an image, is it good, is it bad, who knows? If everyone can use ChatGPT to build a website, if Figma can produce layouts without our involvement, what is our role as creatives, as designers? Will we be out of jobs? What will happen? I mean, obviously, I'm very positive because AI can do, but someone needs to think. And I believe that designers and creatives are the best thinkers because, yes, same as with manufacturing and production, things are faster, cheaper, easier. But someone needs to decide, what are we producing? What are we solving? What are these problems that we are trying to solve? And creative and design community has been placed in the best possible way to be that forward-thinking movement that will solve these more complex problems, that will make better decisions on behalf of all of us as humanities. And we already see positive trends. So businesses are realizing that now that everything is so easy to do, someone at a C level needs to make the right decisions that are a bit more visionary, that consider more of a bigger system, that have empathy, that have a bit more humanity in them than just a CFO and COO and CEO kind of sitting down together and making very, very rational, very logical decisions. So more businesses want design executive level, and there are many examples like Duolingo, Cisco, Google, JP Morgan Chase already hire chief design officers. And this trend will only keep growing because more businesses need creativity and design at the heart of the organization, at the boardroom, at the C-level, because organizations of the future will only survive with creativity, with design being a strategic tool that looks into the future, that solves the problem that don't even exist yet and predicts what the future might look like. Now, when you move to the C-level, it's not that easy. As you probably know, you don't do as much of the beautiful work that we all came here for. We stop being craftsmanship, same as with the story of Bauhaus. Yes, the chairs do still exist and they're still beautiful, but do we spend time crafting each chairs with all the wonderful wooden tools or whatever we used to have to create one chair? Probably not, because the tools change, the skills need to change, so we can look at a bigger picture and make more strategic decisions. So Claudia Abdz, who's Chief Design Officer at Citizen M Hotels, said in the interview that when you move to the C-level, you stop reporting to design and start reporting to business, which means you need to speak the language of business. You need to understand how business works. You need to understand P&L. You need to speak the language of finance, operations, business strategy. You need to see the bigger picture as a designer. Just having great design skills are not enough to be successful at that level. So how do we learn all of that? As creatives, as designers, it's a lot to take on. We already spent how many years becoming incredible, great designers and creatives who produce all these ideas. And now we need to learn more. And what exactly do we need to learn? As you know, Bauhaus back then decided that, okay, if we are not crafting our perfect whatever shoe, chair, whatever it is that we are doing anymore, we need to have a more holistic approach to design, to really interrogate what are the elements of design, how they come together, and what can we bring to this world, which will be a new movement. In a very similar way, we as Future London Academy created the executive program for design leaders to rethink exactly that. What do designers need to be successful in the future? What are the new qualities of design leaders? What are the new skills that design leaders will need to have to be successful in the companies of now and drive the companies into the future and be successful in that future? And we structured that kind of layers that design leaders need to understand into 5 parts. So first, you need to be a better person. I don't think anyone can do anything successfully until you understand what's happening in your head, understand your psychology, understand what drives you. So really understanding how can you be a better person, how can you be a resilient person, high-performing person, but also empathic, and basically how can you be this human who will drive everything forward. And then obviously we are all here to build product and services. You need to understand the processes, the technology, and then you can grow bigger teams and then bigger companies and bigger worlds. And at each layer, you will be learning different things, and I'll go through them in a second. So the curriculum is structured in a way that you'll be learning things bit by bit, because again, there's a lot of learning to learn and understand. And the module 1 is all about the company. It's all about fundamental things that you need to understand as a creative, as a design leader, to scale companies, to be successful in large organizations. All these things that no one taught us when we were going through traditional creative education, like everything to do with strategy, whether it is business strategy, growth, finance, operations, organization design, legal, governance, all these topics that, again, as creatives, as designers, we did not have access to in a structured way. We all picked up things as we went through the career, but no one gave us frameworks, no one gave us more structured knowledge around that. And that's what will put you into the successful position when you're talking to CEOs or CFOs, whether you are on an agency side and need to sell to CEOs, or whether you are within the company and have to report to CEO or C-level. By understanding the financial, the operational, the organizational things in a bigger picture, you'll be able to describe what you're doing in a more successful way and show the area in design in a more successful way. And obviously, human is at the center of each module that you will be studying in. So in module 1, we're covering resilience, how to change. We have coaching sessions, so you can learn coaching tools and coach your team as well. So in module 2, so we focus on other areas and dive into more specific topics around product. Again, all of you already trained creative and design professionals, so you don't need to learn how to design things. But other things to make a product successful are equally as important, like growth, like product development, including pricing, sales, marketing strategy, negotiation, and understanding logistics and supply chains, and how new technologies like AI affect the whole process, but also how to understand the futures and everything that we might expect from the industry going forward. So you're not just creating products for now or services for now, but you create products and services for the future. And by the way, when we say product, we mean product in a very broad way. Whether you are an architect, whether you are a service designer, whether you are a UX designer, it doesn't matter. You are creating a product or a service that has all those elements. It needs a marketing strategy, it needs pricing, it needs to understand what the future might look like. And again, similar as in module 1, you will be diving into all sorts of topics to do with your psychology and being better human. We're covering neurodiversity, future of leadership, and how you might consider non-hierarchical leadership structures. Also, what is a role of chief design officer and how do you get there? And as always, you continue your journey of coaching, learning coaching tools and being coached. In module 3, that module happens halfway through. So you're on this year journey. You've done 2 weeks in July. In module 1, you've done 2 weeks in October for module 2. Now we're in January for module 3, which is all about startups. That's when we are going to Silicon Valley, a completely different universe that kind of almost functions with different laws, and sometimes it feels like the world is upside down there. So when you travel from Europe or UK to Silicon Valley, it's a fascinating mind shift. And obviously Silicon Valley is known for some of the fastest growing companies. So that's where there is more investment in just a tiny strip of Silicon Valley than we have in entire Europe at the moment. So it is really the place where companies are growing. So this is what we'll be learning there. We'll have this incredible 1-week field trip where we'll dive into all sorts of things to do with investment. We'll meet VCs and startups who raise money. We'll understand how M&A process works, how the exit strategy works. We'll understand what term sheets are. And if someone is offering you money to invest in your company, what do you need to look at to make sure you actually make a good decision? Because just getting money is just the beginning of the journey. Then how do you actually have an investor and how you actually work with investors? That's a completely separate story. So we'll dive into all sorts of things of investment, scale, and obviously growth, and how do you actually expand from being a startup. And again, we'll dive into other things to do with being a human and understanding what our roles are and how we can be better leaders. And again, it doesn't matter if you are planning to raise money for your company, or whether you work with a company or you have your own company. It's actually very important to understand how this ecosystem works, because even if you are a founder and never planning to raise money, you need to understand what you're missing out on. You need to understand why it might be a good thing to consider, or maybe why it's definitely not a thing for you. We have so many people who come from this module and say, like, now that I know what VCs are and how they function, I'm definitely not getting investment, which is, again, a personal choice, but it's important to know how everything functions. Or you might be part of the company that is acquired one day. So again, it's important to know how these things work, and we might be your strategic role within this. In module 4, we are back in London. So now we're in March. So 2 weeks in March is module 4, and that's where we dive into all sorts of topics around team, whether it is to do with management, including hiring strategy, as well as scaling teams up and scaling teams down. It's not always just about hiring. It's also about creating a stable pipeline of talent. So no matter whether your organization is growing or shrinking, you need to understand how you approach that in a sustainable way. It's also about team management, understanding how you can structure your organization, whether it is a partnership model, like, for example, Pentagram is one of the most famous examples of companies that has multiple partners, and that's how they function. There are companies that are owned by big groups like WPPs of the world. There are companies that decide to stay independent, or there are companies that become employee owned. And again, this is another structure that you might need to consider if you want to have a successful, again, succession for your company if you're a founder, or if you work within the organization, you need to understand how these structures work as well. We also cover a lot of things around culture, because as we know from Peter Drucker, culture, it's strategy for breakfast. So therefore, building a successful culture is probably one of the most important things for any design or creative business, because again, we work with humans, we don't work with machines, or maybe not yet. So creating a great culture is something that will make or break your company in the long term. So how do you create strong culture? How do you create a culture of high performance? How how do you create employee experience where it's really inclusive, and at every stage of the journey, you actually attract the right talent and retain the right talent. But also we again go into developing you as a human and as a leader with all sorts of things around conflict resolution, cross-cultural collaboration, and again, expanding your coaching toolkit. And now we're to the module 5, and module 5 is another 2 weeks in June, and it's one of my probably most favorite modules because it talks about bigger picture. It talks about building this better world and the planet that we live on. And I do genuinely believe that as creatives, as designers, we have such an enormous power to change anything in the world. Like everything in your room, everything in my room has been designed by someone, has been created from an idea, has been manufactured. This is all comes from designers and creatives. So we better be conscious of what kind of impact we have in this world, because it's limitless. So we need to be very strategic about what we bring to this planet for our clients, for our customers, but also for non-clients and non-customers. But also, how can we think about the world as a bigger picture and how it affects us and our jobs? So in the module about planet, we cover everything around impact, like geopolitics, impact investments, sustainability, ethics. And again, these are not the topics that you might think about on your daily basis as a designer, creative, or as a human, to be honest, because we might be all affected by geopolitics, but we not necessarily always play an active role in it. But it's very important to understand how policies are made, how can they affect any business. And we've been through this transformation multiple times as an industry where one policy can literally shut down a bunch of companies. It's all about understanding the bigger picture and how we as creatives and designers can influence this bigger picture. It's also obviously about the future and expansion, and whether you are expanding to a new market or whether you are thinking of succession planning. Again, what does the future for you in the company looks like? And again, we'll continue your journey as a leader with media training, crisis communication, building your global network. Again, everything that will prepare to expand your impact beyond what you're doing now to this bigger world that we live in. And also you have mentorship as part of module 5, one-on-one mentorship with some of the most brilliant minds. Obviously the faculty already is mind-blowing, but you also will have a chance to sit down one-on-one and have literally a conversation about anything you want with the people that you admire the most. And it finishes with your final projects. And final project is, I'll talk about it in a bit, but it's something that, again, is something very, very important, valuable for you. Essentially, it's could be your pitch to your CEO about the chief design officer role that needs to be created, or it could be your business strategy about expanding your business to a new market, or it could be the new feature you're planning to launch in your product and kind of understanding how this might fit into the bigger world. Whatever is relevant for you, for whichever reason you are taking or considering taking this program, this is what you will be working on with this one-on-one mentorships, with all the things they will be learning, to make sure that you not just kind of get all the knowledge, but also you have a real plan to execute everything. And you will be presenting your final projects in front of some of the most esteemed judges in the industry. Very much Dragon's Den or Shark Tank style. We always select some of the most incredible people from the world of investment, from the world of design leadership, from the world of business. So they will be representing different aspects of the industry, and you will have a chance to get your ideas, get your projects in front of them. So whether it is you want to get an advice of a CEO about how to better pitch to a CEO, and this is your best way to get this personal advice that they will tell you during that presentation, or maybe you're raising money and you want to hear from investors whether they want to invest, or maybe they know someone who would like to invest. This is a very, very intense day where the whole cohort presenting one by one, but it's also very, very special. And it's something that, again, will prepare you for success, because you're not just having a plan, but it's also an advisory of the best minds in the industry who will want your plan to succeed. Basically, what I've described is this overview of 1 year where you essentially will be focused on learning at 2 weeks at a time in July, 2 weeks at a time in October, then 1 week in January in Silicon Valley, and then we're back in March for 2 weeks in London, and then we finish in June with 2 weeks. So that way you don't need to quit your jobs. You can actually just take this time off, and we wonderfully split it across 2 calendar years. So again, in terms of planning your holidays, asking for time off, it's a bit easier. So you can actually apply everything you're learning straight away. So between the module, there is no homework. The only job for you to actually go back and apply all the frameworks, all the cases, everything you're learning, which is very practical directly from the industry people, apply to your work and see the results. So by the time you come back to the next module, you see what worked, what didn't, and again, how you can make it better. You'll prepare better questions. You will start going into more detail. So you don't need to wait until the end of the year to see the results of everything you are doing. You can actually see them straight away. And we had people getting promotions literally halfway through the year. We had people doubling their revenue in the first 2 months. Also, we had people who reduced their cost by 20% in the first 2 months. So essentially, anything that you're looking for as part of this program, you can achieve while you're still on the program. Now, back to Bauhaus. Bauhaus obviously was also famous for some of the most esteemed minds teaching there, whether it was Kandinsky or Mahalanaj or Schlemmer, all these people who were the most famous people of that time, the artists, the architects, the creatives, they were the ones teaching there. So they actually had their studios there, they were working there, and they were teaching how they work. Obviously, there was not much diversity going on there, but we fixed that. So with our lovely faculty, we have 100 plus faculty members, all of whom are practitioners who are working in the most successful companies right now, who are teaching every single subject matter. There are people like Don Norman, who you probably know if you work in the UX world, or Ivy Ross, who is an incredible chief design officer at Google from the hardware division. So all your lovely pixels, if any of you have Pixel phone, that has been designed by her, but also she wrote one of the most famous books about art, Brain on Art, about how the psychology works in terms of art and psychology. We have CFOs who, again, teach finance. You will be hearing literally from CFOs of how they approach finance, or business strategists taught by people who are building business strategy for companies like Apple and Uber and Amazon, as well as architects who are working in some of the most incredible and inspiring companies like Zaha Hadid Architects, who again will be sharing how they lead, how they plan, how they budget things. So you will be essentially learning from the top minds in the industry of how they work. Come back to Bauhaus. Another thing that Bauhaus was famous for is their parties. Who doesn't like a good party? But what was special about Bauhaus parties are their costumes. So each Bauhaus party had a theme, which was always ridiculous. This, I think, was a planet party or something. So they all made their own costumes. And this is where creativity thrives, because, I mean, education is important, learning is important, but our brains don't work in a linear way. We need time to reflect. We need time to bond. We need time to collaborate. And as creatives, I think the best way we do this by being surrounded by the humans, by doing silly things, by having time off where our brains can actually recollect everything, digest everything that we're learning, and put it in the right places. So in a similar way, obviously, the whole experience is a lot around humans. You will be in the same place with some of the best people flying from all around the world. You will be collaborating them. You will be having lots of special moments of learning, of frustrations, of trying to solve challenges. You'll be doing acting classes together. You'll be doing cooking classes together, but also you'll be working on case studies. You will be doing group work, and you will be partying. We have special graduation ceremony every year where essentially we have a theme, very much kind of Bauhaus, but also Met Gala style. We have a theme where we like everyone to dress up. So, for example, 2 years ago, the theme was Future Heritage. So these are some pictures from the Future Heritage theme. So it was hosted at Barbican, one of the most iconic buildings in London, and everyone put so much effort and thought in their costumes. So you can see here that some people collaborated with their local designers to create custom outfits that represented their culture. We had someone who literally printed their first family photo on a silk cape and had it as part of their dress. So everyone interpreted the theme of future heritage in their own way, whether it is kind of giving the path forward to the new generation of creative and designers, whether it is looking at the heritage, whether it is combining both. But it was very, very special. And we had like great interviews about every single detail of everyone's outfit, whether it is the jewelry they wore or whether it is how they created dresses, and how so much creativity went into that. Last year, our theme was Vivid Dreams. As you can see, everyone was really vivid. And again, everyone, as with Met Gala or any other creative endeavor, you can interpret in your own way. So we had people going in bright colors or dreamy outfits. It was such a great way to express yourself in a different way that maybe your colleagues never seen you. And we hosted last year's ceremony in another iconic London building, the famous Gherkin. So again, imagine top of the floor with a whole glass ceiling and the blue sky. This was quite a special affair with a yellow carpet. And again, this is something to remember. And again, this is all about experience, but also learning. So we want to make sure, yes, you learn all the knowledge, all the business skills, all the incredible frameworks from all the top people, but also you'll create memories, because you are here with humans. We are all on this planet as humans to collaborate with each other, to meet people. So that's why we always finish our program on the high with this fabulous, grandiose, special, magical ceremony that will be something that hopefully you'll remember as one of your most magical moments in life, but also the time where you were together with some of the best people you've ever met. And people, our cohorts, always stay in touch for the rest of their lives. We were just getting messages yesterday from one of the cohorts. They are getting reunion, and they are so excited to see each other and constantly exchange ideas and challenges, what they're working on. They collaborate on projects and do so many things together, because I think it is so important to have that global network of people who will be your support network, who will be your business network, who will be your ideas network, and people who you can at any time of the day send a message, ask a question, and there'll be someone there for you who will know the answer. So this program, since we've been running it, obviously got a lot of attention. We've been featured in lots of magazines, from Dezeen naming us the program that helps people to become better creative leaders, and we've been called Education of the Future. And actually last week, we've been awarded the Don Norman Design Award for the Excellence in Education. So we are very, very proud to be recognized, not just for our vision, but also for the quality of education that we provide. And it feels very special to be recognized by the industry that our standards of education are higher than any other place that anyone can learn. We obviously have a lot of industry recognition from iconic people like Michael Wolff, who just said that this is essentially what you need to do, because this is the only opportunity to answer a question that we all really ask ourselves: what are you here for? We also have CMOs and obviously Don Norman themselves sharing that this is something the industry needed for a long time. And so far, we're the only place where you can learn from so many incredible people in one go, but also learn the business skills, which is, again, something that no one teaches designers and creatives. We've been obviously already very lucky to have some of the best design leaders coming on our program to study from the brands and companies that you all know. And as Futureland Academy, I think we are very privileged that we've attracted and been trusted by some of the top leaders to help their design team thrive. And again, when I feel like when some of the companies that I personally admire, like Apple, like Aesop and Netflix and Microsoft, trust us to make their design leaders better, I feel like we're doing something right. And to give you a bit of a glimpse who usually comes to the program, who would you be starting with if you join the program, if you get accepted on the program? This is roughly split. We have people who are managing partners or business owners and founders. So these are people who are running their organizations, whether it's creative agencies, fashion brands, architecture firms, interior design studios, or just tech products. We have so many people who come through a creative or design journey and decide to start companies. And guess what? No one teaches you how to run a company. So you have to learn these skills as you go. And that's why they come when they are at the point when they are ready to scale the company. We have obviously creative directors and executive creative directors, heads of design, who come to the program because, again, they want to progress within the organization. They want to get to that chief design officer role. And happy to report that people get their promotions while they're in the program, as well as after they graduate from the program. And I mean, promotion, I think it's also the tool. But what I actually love seeing, that we had someone 2 years ago who has been promoted to HQ of their company, and she was always passionate about driving sustainability. And now she actually has influence at that level to drive the sustainability agenda within the company. So it's not just about the promotion, but it's also about your influence as a creative, as a designer, about the impact you want to make in your company and in the world. By getting that promotion, you can also get that impact. We also have heads of innovation, independent creatives, futurist consultants. I feel like one of the most common questions people ask is, I'm not a typical creative. Am I right for this? And I always wonder, what does typical creative mean? Because I feel like there is no a typical path for a creative or designer at all. So therefore, I feel like we're all an odd bunch of people who navigated somehow throughout their career to the point where we are clearly doing something right to become successful and get all these incredible jobs and careers that we all have. And we always have a question again, what next? What do we do with our knowledge? How can we progress, whether it is within our current career or whether we want to start a company? What else do we need to know to be successful there? And this is essentially the reason why this program exists. Now, as I mentioned, I thought I'll give you a tiny glimpse of what it looks like in our HQ before our lovely cohort will join me for the conversation. So you can ask them any questions about their experience. And it's not recorded, or rather not pre-recorded, it's all live. So you'll get real answers from real people who are currently studying on the program. So prepare your questions, but let me give you a tour. Where I am right now, this is our lunch spot. So essentially we have a lovely space, which currently it's dark, it's evening in London, but this is where everyone has lunch. And we have massive windows, which I love, which is very rare in London actually, to have big windows. They will have a lot of light, and anytime throughout the day, like the view, actually, let's see if we can see the view. We have absolutely stunning view of London with all the lovely buildings. I think there is more reflection than the view right now, but it's beautiful. And this is area for everyone to chill. Now, this is our classroom. So here where people study, and you can see them studying very hard now. I'm not going to distract them. As soon as they finish, some of them will join us for Q&A. But again, it's another room with massive windows and a lot of great comfortable spaces. And I think currently they're doing a workshop, something very important. They're doing some work and discussion. We also have lots of areas for everyone to chill and just have a coffee and do their own work. We have quiet spaces. So if you need to make a call, because I mean, everyone is taking time off work, trying to squeeze in extra emails and everything, you can also hide in a corner and make your call, whatever you need. So yeah, it's also obviously in a lovely area of London. We are based in Canary Wharf. So that's one of our newest and shiniest areas where all the buzz is happening right now. So that's where all the new restaurants are opening. It's one of the safest and the cleanest areas of London. So again, you will be in the right spot. We also recommend hotels where to stay, and all the kind of extra logistical things that will help make your stay enjoyable. So you don't need to think about any logistical bits when you arrive here. What questions do we have? Carl is asking, what does a typical day on the course look like? So the day starts at 9 a.m. So every day we start at 9 a.m. and there is a 4-hour block. Where you have one of our experts, whether it is a CEO, a CFO, or another practitioner who will be teaching you the subject. Whether it is a business strategy, they will be learning from CEO, or financials and P&L, you will be learning from the finance experts. So you'll dive into the case studies, the frameworks. They will present how they think about it. They will present their approach to the topic. They'll share their the frameworks, the toolkits that they use, and then you will dive into a workshop and group work. So everything is very practical. So obviously you won't be just sitting and listening. You will be working together as a group, working individually on challenges that they pose, collaborating, asking questions, having discussions, and essentially trying to understand how this tool, this framework applies to what you're trying to solve. So there will be a lot of interactivity. There will be a lot of questions, a lot of case studies. Obviously, everyone who teaches in the program brings the real case studies because they work in real companies. So we just last week we had a session on marketing strategy, and it was fascinating actually to hear, because marketing is one of the areas, I suppose, that moves so fast that what was relevant in marketing half a year ago doesn't work in marketing anymore. So we had head of growth from one of brilliant brands here in London called M&M, and he was sharing literally how they're doing it right now, and it was fascinating, absolutely fascinating. And it's not something you'll ever find anywhere online or on conferences, because by the time it gets online, it's already outdated. So everyone who comes in the program basically teaches how they're doing things now, how they've done it yesterday, how they're doing it today, and how they're going to do it tomorrow. So you'll get the freshest knowledge. So yeah, after a 4-hour block in the morning from 9 a.m., you have 1 hour lunch break, and we recommend beautiful spots in the area where you can go for lunch. And then after lunch, you have another 4 hours on another topic with another expert, but in a similar manner, you will be diving into workshop conversation. There will be case studies, there will be frameworks, very interactive, working together with your cohort members, working individually on different challenges. So very, very mixed and interactive style. So you won't get bored, that's for sure. And you will be learning a lot. I think one thing, and we'll check in with the cohort now, how they're feeling. It does require a lot of energy, which is a good thing, because when you go back and start unpacking everything you learned in such a short space of time, it literally drives you for many, many years in the future. So every day is structured very similarly. You also have, on some of the days, we have office visits. So we're not always in this lovely HQ. On some of the days, we go to the beautiful and brilliant companies. So whether it is Zaha Hadid Architects, that we go and visit and see actually where they work, not just the work that they do. We also just last week, we went to Territory Studio, the company behind the special effects of The Martian, Guardian of the Galaxy, all the futuristic concepts that you see in movies. They're the ones who work on them. And they actually not just work on them for movies, but then they translate them for real companies, because companies start coming to them and then like, do you know that thing in Martian, that interface can actually work in a car because we're building this new car? So they constantly think about the future of spaces. So yeah, it's a mixture of sessions in this HQ, as well as on some days you will see other people's companies and offices from the inside, very much behind the scenes. And in the evenings, everyone organizes their own plans. We have this cohort has been, I've heard, had lots of parties, which is great when people have time to bond and do extracurricular activities. But also, I know a lot of people try to squeeze in their work after the session. So some people just stay quietly on their laptops and try to catch up on work with all the different time zones. So hopefully that answers that question. Are there any prayer rooms I can use? Yes, there are prayer rooms. We have wellness room that is used for any of our Muslim communities. So we have people coming, and again, any other needs that you have. We have all the accessibility needs that anyone might have. So anything that you need, we have space for you. So that's definitely not a problem. How different is the actual content you learn on this course versus the mini MBA course? Oh, great question. So we also have mini MBA, which is our online course that maybe some on this call has been going through, Jason. We have online learning as Future Learn Academy. We've been running courses and learning experiences for 12 years. So this is just one of the programs that we run, but we have a variety of other programs. Mini MBA is one of them, which is a tiny, tiny version. It's an online version if you just need a quick vocabulary of everything that's going in business and understand the fundamentals of just business. So mini MBA only focuses on the fundamentals of business. So if you need to learn what CAC and LTV is, what P&L is, and just like the basics of it, it's very short. It's only 5 hours of content. It's online, so you can do it at any time. So you can actually do it in your own pace. You can watch some sessions on double speed if you want to, or pause if you want to. So it's very, very flexible in that sense, but it only covers business fundamentals. While Design Leaders program is more of a holistic approach to design leadership. So you will learn business. So yes, you will still learn P&L, business strategy, and all the other things, but you also learn more about leadership and management and team culture and how to scale things about investment and other things. So I would say if you are maybe senior designer right now who is thinking, I don't understand the conversations that are happening around me and I just need a quick kind of by next week, I need to have an understanding of what's going on in the world of business, definitely do our mini MBA. It will give you all the information that you need. If you are thinking, I'm ready to take a really big step in my career, whether it is I'm going for this promotion or I want to start my company, I want to scale my company, whatever this big thing is, then probably Design Leaders program would be a better fit for you because you will have more holistic view. You will have, it's also in person versus online, and you will have the support of your cohort that will be with you for life. So both has benefits, depends on what you're looking for. I think it's different approach. Great. And by the way, if we don't answer all of the questions before the lovely cohort joins me, because I can see them just finishing the class, so they might join me in a second. If you don't answer all of the questions, we'll get back to your questions as soon as after we have a chat with them. So in the meantime, between sessions, what is the work to follow up? Between the modules or in between the sessions, we don't have any homework. This is our firm belief that you need to learn everything while you're all together. And the only thing you need to do while you're out of the classroom is to apply everything to your real work. We know how incredibly busy your lives are as leaders, as founders, as people who work in very demanding organizations and teams. So we want to make sure that nothing distracts you from actually doing your job. So you'll use the learning to do your job better, but there is no extra homework, nothing else you need to do when you're not in the sessions. We do have optional reading list. So this is again to keep your brains entertained and engaged on all the things that you've already learned. We also have our online platform where all the materials from the sessions are stored. So again, if you want to go back to anything that has been presented and you want to dive deeper in it, you have all the materials or presentations stored on the online platform. So easy for you to access at any time after the sessions as well. But there is no homework. We do not believe in homework. Semantic question, do you actually get an MBA, or is it the idea of an MBA for creatives but not really an MBA? Short answer is yes, it is the idea of an MBA. We give the certification as DLX, Exponential Design Leader. The reason behind this is actually a story of how we first planned to get an MBA, and we were offered by a few universities here in the UK to be certified as an MBA. But if any of you have been through this process, you might know that to be qualified as MBA, you actually are very restricted in what you can teach. And unfortunately, whoever created the standards for MBA definitely hasn't seen the companies that exist right now, because they don't allow you to teach many subjects that we believe are crucial for success of the companies in the future, as well as they ask you to teach all of the subjects that none of you will ever need because AI can do it for you. So we decided not to sacrifice the quality of the course, and especially with the people who apply for the program usually don't go for certification, they go for real knowledge. They would rather get something that will help them scale companies and be more successful than an extra letter on their CV. So it is not certified as an MBA. It has the same amount of academic hours as an MBA. It has better quality than an MBA, and it is industry certified. So we pick the best people from the industry to certify our program, and that's where certification of DLX comes from. So it is certified by the industry leaders. Question 2. In essence, it's a 9-week program. You only learn during those 2 weeks modules. There are no courses in between and meetups. You are focusedly learning in those 2 weeks. As I mentioned, again, if we're in a conversation about MBAs, so traditional executive MBA is during the weekend. So you learn across 1.5 year on traditional executive MBAs, which I've heard ruins families, ruins lots of relationships, and definitely distracts you from work. So instead, we decided to compress all this weekend learning into these 2 weeks. So as I mentioned, academic hours, we actually have exactly the same as any executive MBA, but you don't need to quit your job and relocate to London to study on our program. You can do it in this very intense manner. 2 weeks at a time and then fly back wherever you're coming from. We have people flying from Singapore, Australia, US, Canada, Saudi Arabia, Nigeria. Our current cohort is very, very international. So you fly this 2 weeks at a time, immerse yourself in learning, which also means you will switch off from work completely or as much as you can. And we recommend you trying to tell your team, try not to bug me while I'm here. And this gives you a nice space between your day-to-day work and actual learning. So you're not constantly in kind of two places at the same time. You can immerse yourself in everything you're learning, be present with your cohort, be present with the content. And then when you go back, again, no distraction, no homework. You go back to your work and start applying everything to your work. So no homework in between, no other courses in between. You do have a WhatsApp group with your cohort. So the WhatsApp group starts on the first day, and that's where you can chat. And this WhatsApp group's live for life. It's incredible actually to see the collaborations and questions and updates and celebrations that happen in that group. But essentially in between the modules, if you have questions, if you want to check in with anyone, you can always ask a question in the WhatsApp group. People send links, materials, anything else. And some people self-organize Zoom calls when they need the support or want to have a question. Again, you can always have access to other cohort members who will be more than happy to help, but there is no official homework or anything else that you need to do. How does the CDO differ from both CD and the CPO role? Would creative director focus more on the creative direction or the product, whereas a CDO, would you think through design thinking approach in all aspects of the enterprise? Antonia, such a wonderful question. And I don't think anyone has an answer because Chief Design Officer is a very new role. And even if you compare different Chief Design Officers in various companies, I mentioned a few like Duolingo or Google, they will be very different in terms of what the Chief Design Officer does. To be fair, as Chief Operating Officer, as many titles at a C-level, it varies from company to company what the person is involved in. How we see the role of Chief Design Officer, it's someone who creates a kind of understands the full vision. So that means you do understand the product, you do understand design, you do understand business, you do understand all the aspects, but you have this extra lens that none of these roles have, like empathy. You understand, you kind of have creative problem solving. You don't just make decisions from purely financial lens like a CFO would do. You solve the same problems as CFO, you solve the same problems as CEO, but you solve them through the lens of creativity, considering also the wider context. Currently, CPO roles are mainly focused on metrics and business, not necessarily, again, from a company to company, it could be different, but it's not coming from the kind of customer user first perspective. It's not coming from the place of imagination and creativity. It comes from very much a metrics and numbers driven and market driven decisions. While Chief Design Officer will have kind of a broader view. What's the difference between creative director and Chief Design Officer? That's probably the easiest question to answer because creative director is only responsible for creative output. In some companies, creative directors are involved in some business conversations, but not as heavily as a Chief Design Officer would be, because at the end of the day, everyone at the board level is responsible for P&L. So essentially how much money is going in the company in and out. So therefore, everyone has to be responsible for growth. Everyone needs to understand how to solve bigger business challenges. Creative directors are not involved in solving kind of massive business challenges, and that's not their area of responsibility. But as soon as you move to C-level, then you have to think about business, but through the creative lens, through the lens of design, through the lens of empathy, not just purely business only. If that answers the question, let me know. If you have more questions on that topic, we actually have Chief Design Officer reports that might help you answer that. I'll ask the team to put a link in the chat to the Chief Design Officer report that we created that analyzes what Chief Design Officers in different companies do, as well as what we think the realm of responsibility should be for a Chief Design Officer. As I said, the role is changing. So what it is now might not be what it is in 5 years, but we think there is a very, very unique place for designers and creative in the boardroom. And that role of Chief Design Officer is something that I think we all can take ownership of and drive companies to the future. So yeah, the costs, £45,000. The way this cost is split, if you are accepted in the program, you will need to pay a deposit of £5,000 to secure your spot, and then you can split the rest of the month, £40,000 across several months if you need a payment plan. So you don't need to pay all of in one go. If you need a payment plan, we have payment plans available. So again, that can be discussed. We always want to make sure we can be as flexible as possible to our candidates that we select. We had few thousand people applying for 30 spots every year. So the people who we do select, we want to make sure that we again create the conditions in which they can attend the program. So it is very important for us to understand individual situation. Eric, I love the question. What if you can't tell your team not to bug you? How realistic it is to run a small agency while doing this? Oh, love this question. We have so many founders who literally say exactly that. I cannot leave my team for a day, and definitely not for 2 weeks. But some of them do. And guess what do they report? That first of all, it is scary. I'm not saying it's an easy thing. It is scary, it is tough, and some things will go wrong. There is no, if you never left your team before, then expect that some things won't go as they would with you. The good thing is, you'll be surprised how many things go right. And this is what everyone says when they go back and actually see what the team has been doing without them. They feel incredibly proud of what they've built and actually see much clearer what their role is as a leader, because they stop doing everything and anything they can do and start focusing on things where they actually are needed. And this is, again, the transformation that we want everyone to go through in this program. And stepping away for 2 weeks is one of the best ways to identify where your team can actually step up without you constantly watching, and where do they actually need support, so you can actually give them that support. And now with tools and everything else you're bringing back, you can give this support better. Again, it's personal decision for everyone. It's always hard, but I always want to say, like, if you keep doing the same things, then you keep getting the same results. If you want to change something in the way you run a company and actually grow your company, then you have to do something differently. And this is one of the ways to do that. Carl, are all expenses, hotel, food, travel included in the total cost of the course? It is not, but we do recommend hotels that we have partnership with that provide discounted rates. So again, we want to make sure that it is as easy for you as possible. So essentially, we will recommend places to eat, hotels to stay. And what happens usually as well afterwards, we have cohort members starting renting Airbnb together. So in the first module, everyone stays in the hotel. But if you need to save cost, obviously, we have ways that people done it before. Everyone comes on a different budget. We totally understand that. On that note, I would like to invite my lovely humans that are studying on the cohort. Hello! First of all, thank you for joining after a very long and productive day. I know there was a lot of intense work going on, so I was like, I don't know if you have any energy left, but we will try not to take too much of your energy. But before we start, can everyone introduce themselves, who you are?
Yeah, I'm Diego. I'm a creative director. So I work in Singapore. So I came here all the way just to get those learnings that gets us inspired every day. And I mean, looking forward to more learnings all this week.
I'm Sean. I'm a principal designer at Microsoft, coming in from California.
And I am Ali. I'm from Mexico City. I lead a design team back in Mexico, and I'm very excited to be here with you.
Well, thank you. Thank you for flying from all around the world and being in one place in this giant room. So first of all, how is it going so far? We're in module 2 now. I was describing to everyone the whole flow of the year, that we start in July and then we have 2 weeks in July. Now we're in module 2 in October, and you're in week 2 of October. Tell us, how's it going? Any highlights, reflections?
I think that's a lot to absorb on a positive way. But at least you should get like one thing from each class. And I think that it's already a lot. Right?
It's a lot, and it's going fast. Like, you think about like 2 whole weeks away from home and away from work and your family. It goes like this. Like, now it's Tuesday. I cannot believe it. It's module 2. I cannot believe it either, because so many things happening and a lot of things to absorb, and you want to do things. And I don't know. It's amazing. It's amazing so far for me.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's same, right? It's a lot, but it's really great. It's long days, but you can get a lot from it. And I think, you got to do your best to bring your full self, to present, to the others, share your work, share what you're doing, and, learn from each other as well as the instructors.
So what is one thing that maybe each of you learned that you maybe already applied, or top insight?
One. No, you
Just
can
one,
choose
just
one.
anything that we can share.
Anything we can share. I cannot choose one, but I've been applying since the day I arrived. I shared a lot of things with my team and the company, and we are already doing things that I learned here. I don't know. I cannot share just one, but the ripple effect is happening, and I'm very glad.
Yeah, I think one of the first learning is to kind of create a psychological safe environment. And that's like, I mean, everyone that we work with, we believe that is brilliant and have something to add. But sometimes we don't create the required environment for all of these people to share and contribute. But when we can create like this safe space, that's when like the best ideas happen, right? So that's like a very basic thing, but it's very important for the whole course, I think.
Yeah, and I think for me, I think for many of us, as we like talk, learn about each other more, it's obviously there's like what can we do for our teams, but also for ourselves. And so I think a lot of this, one of the is actually on day one from Buzz, Steve Pierce. He brought up like the accountability ladder.
Yeah.
Right. That, you ultimately are accountable for what happens in many capacities, right? And placing blame, or, how do you make sure you own your own things, good or bad, but you can actually start to, it's like, a bit of this, obviously, yeah. How do we, I think anyone coming here, right, you're seeking to learn more and grow in new things and seeking a change of some kind. But I think that accountability is still, from that first afternoon session, still sticks to me.
And is there something you didn't expect? Like, we obviously try to put all the effort in materials and everything, and everyone reads and creates kind of their own picture of what it will look like. But at the end of the day, we never know what it will look like in real life. So anything that you did not expect from this program that happened?
The people that you know on the way.
Mhm.
I think that's like also one of the amazing things, because you learn as much as from your colleagues than as you learn from the program. So I think that's one of the best things.
Yeah, building on that for me is like when you see this incredible movie and you go out of the theater and still talking about it. That happens every time. And so you keep talking and talking, and you have lessons from all of us. And somehow, what I didn't expect was like, for me, when I saw the card, there were like, oh, different cultures, different languages, different profiles, different experience, and we all have so much in common. And that was amazing for me to realize, like, you can relate with everyone in some way.
I think I will definitely reiterate some of that same thing. I think the people, the cohort has been amazing. I would say, obviously the cohort itself is very diverse, but I think one of the best things, and especially with the classes, is that there are many different perspectives and angles to consider, right? So like I'm coming from the product software design background, but we have the creative side and creative ads, and then we have the architects and stuff like that, right? It's like everything is a little different, but we are dealing with a lot of the same things. And so you can really, again, learn from each other, but I think also even the classes themselves, they do bring in those multiple aspects. And I think that's definitely a richness to the program.
Let's see if we have any questions from the audience before we let you go. But one thing, I will start with one question that has been just asked just now, and we were trying to find an answer to it, which is, it's hard to leave the team. It is 2 weeks is a lot. How will I leave my team for 2 weeks? Any advice? You've had to leave your teams for 2 weeks. Any advice of how to do it better, or what did you reflect on this?
Yeah, it seems like a long time, like 2 weeks. But we had this amazing activity like a couple of days ago when we were like expressing what are we thankful for. And 2 out of 3 told me like, I'm thankful because my team is supporting me. Like really, really good job just for me to be here and be focused. So it's impossible to be 100% out of your job and your day to day. But I think when they see what you come with and applying the knowledge, they know you're like investing this time and effort in here, they will support you, like for sure. Maybe sharing with them is a kind of, I don't know how to say, like, is the way to show them that being here is really important for not just for us, but for all the team and the company, maybe.
I mean, it's honestly hard. The team will miss you. I think everyone that's here is important for the team.
Yeah.
But like the impact that you can make immediately when you land back, I think that's like the best outcome from this course. So I think that if the team can understand that when you are back, you will be like a better version of yourself, right? And definitely that will affect in a positive way the business. I think that that's like the right mindset.
Yeah, and you know, it's definitely going to be different for everyone, of course, right? Depending on where you're coming from. I know I'm lucky enough that I was at a bigger place, but you know, my boss was very supportive of me doing this because it's about my growth, but also that is benefit for everyone that I work with, right? That it's an investment to advance your career and what you can actually offer. So I think there are challenges to it, but it's also how do you make sure you're setting yourself up for where you want to be.
Good answer. Thank you. And I like, we'll constantly talk about REI in design. I feel like there is also REI in learning that, and it's a bit of a catch-22. I always say like, you will learn here how to describe the REI on things, but before you come, it's difficult to understand how to explain to your boss or leader that they need to invest in you. They need to invest time that you can actually bring value back more than what you've been doing before. And design is a strategic tool that can drive businesses forward. It's a hard one. Let me check. Do we have any questions? We do. Oh, what is the biggest thing you have learned about yourselves while on the course?
Sometimes unlearning is as important as learning, because I think that we come here with many different ways in, but like deconstructing myself, I think that is very important of like becoming like to reinvent yourself, right? Basically. So yeah, I think just be ready to break yourself and reconstruct.
I think for me, it's all about confidence and being myself. I think I came here like with this imposter syndrome, like, well, here are these incredible people and you can relate to anyone. And for me, it's about building confidence as a person, as a leader, as a designer, and regaining that, I don't know, that strength and that's, and it's not a skill, but that feeling maybe.
Yeah, I was definitely thinking about imposter syndrome a bit as well. I think just about everyone has that, right? But I think it's that discomfort is that opportunity to grow, right? That you're putting that challenge in front of you. You know, and I think about even having that myself as well, right? It's, am I good enough? Is it the right thing? But ultimately it's this is a good investment. And so I think for myself, it was also learning that, you know, especially maybe more in module 1, where we're like, you know, different country, different industry, different backgrounds, but ultimately we're all seeking a lot of the same things, right? We want to have, I think, you know, take our imposter syndrome in its current form and extend it further, right? So that we're going to grow, but seek new challenges through that too.
We're always trying to help each other to achieve whatever we're looking for. And that's amazing also.
I don't know if we have any more questions. Then anything, just last words before you leave to your wonderful day. I'm sure you have some parties and drinks planned and other things, or catching up on work, whatever the Tuesday brings. Any parting words to this group of humans who are on the other side and thinking, I don't know, what to do? Any parting words?
Do it. 100% do it. I was pushed to here, like my husband, like, you have to do this. And I was like, should I? He was so right. Like, this is a transformation for me in so many ways. Like, you will have doubts, but a lot of things. And you can reach out like anytime, but do it. That was my advice. Do it 100%. Do it for yourself. great investment.
I think that one of the conversations that I had with Katerina before joining us, I just asked her what's like was the one word that defined this force, and she responded like future, right? No wonder it's future, it's future London Academy, right? But I think that here you realize that with the right mindset, the future is bright. No matter what happens, like AI coming, like all of the challenges, business struggling, I think that you just get the right tools to look the future in a positive way. The future comes for everyone.
Yes.
Yeah, I think if you're seeking change, you have to take the jump, right? You have to take the lead to actually get the change. Change won't come to you, right? Or change you want will not come to you. And so it's, invest in yourself, invest in the change you want to see.
I have a practical tip.
Go on.
Because I remember you told us the very first day,
Okay.
take care of yourselves, like sleep well, eat well. And I was like, no, this is London. I'm going to eat the world like right now.
Just one.
You have to sleep well. You have to take care of yourself because you have to, and you need like all your energy to be here and to share and to be focused and to be present. So now I understand. You're taking care about me. And that's also good. So I remember, and thank you for that advice because I will always remember. It takes energy for you to absorb all of these things.
Oh, thank you. I feel so warm now and hugged from inside out from all of your stories. Thank you so much. Really, really appreciate you sharing your stories, and especially after London. And I can see lots of likes and hearts flying your way. I'm sure everyone on the other side of the screen appreciate the real human conversations, because at the end of the day, again, so many different parts of the world. There are Reddits, there are chats, we can text, we can tap as much as we want, but sometimes it's so good to have a real human conversation together. Peter, thanks again. I'll let you go for whatever future holds, but thanks.
Yeah.
And enjoy the rest of the module.
Thanks.
Bye, everyone.
Bye, everyone. Thank you.
And thank you for the thank yous. I seriously appreciate this lovely group. Trust me, they've been working since very early morning today. So the fact that they had energy to chat to all of us, that is a lot. Now, please put any more questions in the chat. I'll try to answer as many of them as possible. If we don't have any questions, then as you know, I have the last one for you, which is how to convince your employer or boss or leader or whoever you have to invest in you, in your education. But to be fair, that advice applies to anything you want to get investment for. Maybe you want to hire more people in design and you're trying to pitch design, investing more in design. In the meantime, let me share the last tip that I will be sharing with you today, which hopefully will help you. As I said, doesn't need to be applied even to this program. It might be just a helpful thing for you to consider. So in general, how the businesses work, and again, you will learn this on the program, but it is businesses at the end of the day that we work in, whether we are around businesses or whether we are part of businesses. And what does a business mean? The business needs to make money, needs to grow. So therefore, when you talk to business leaders and senior leaders, a lot of the time, or most of the time, they think in this very much black and white lens of how can you make me money or how can you save me money? Whether you are an agency that pitching for a project, whether you work in a company and you're pitching for something, the easiest way that people, business leaders think about your role is, are you going to make me money? Are you going to increase my sales? Are you going to grow my business? Or are you going to save me money? So if you want to convince your employer, your business leader, whoever, to invest in this program, then you need to think how this program might help them to make more money or save more money. And from the stories that you've heard already, obviously, in terms of making money, you will be bringing a lot of knowledge, and that will have direct or indirect impact on everything that you're doing. So whether it is you will be building better culture within the company. So essentially you will make sure that retention grows, that your team stays. So people don't need to spend more money on hiring. You can think about the marketing that you will learn and how you learn more about sales and business strategies, so you can make company more money with creating more impactful design, the pages that convert better, the apps that have more seamless checkout and reduced drop-off rate, whatever this is that you're working on and designing, or buildings that actually are more efficient and actually can be delivered faster because you improve operations. You have so many levers as a designer to make more money to the business or to save money. So whenever you think about pitching anything, try to think through this lens. The work that I do and the work that I'm planning to do, and if I'm planning to take learning for 2 weeks, yes, I will be away for 2 weeks, but what will I bring back that will make money to the business or save money to the business? And yeah, use things like employee retention. You will save operational costs. You will improve customer service. You improve efficiency. There are so many things that you'll bring, internal tools that will again make your operations more smooth, or in making more money, whether it is with marketing, with branding, with actually bring in potentially new clients from the program. We have people from both agency side, client side, people collaborate on projects and bring new projects back to their businesses. So there are many ways that you potentially will make more money or save money. Saying that, before you start having this mental exercise, I would also recommend for all of you to go and talk to your boss, employer, manager, business partner, whoever you have, about what is the priority for the business right now. You will be surprised how many things that are not as clear from wherever you sit in terms of what the business is prioritizing. Your business might have just got investment and they actually don't care about costs. So saving costs won't be a priority. The only thing they are caring about is growing the market share. So if you understand that this is number one priority, then you say, well, with the work that I do and the tools that I'll get, I can actually help you grow market share and help you get more customers, help your brand to be more famous, create more brand awareness, to expand our product to new territories. Or if the business is actually in the kind of stable growth, but now is looking at cutting the operational cost. And again, this is something that you can work with again, the same framework. Again, it's very simple. And sometimes the simplest ways are the ones that work the best. So whenever you are thinking about pitching to your business leaders to invest in design or invest in your education, think how what you will do will save them money or make money. So that's my little tip for today. Let me know if you have any additional questions. What happens, Carl? I love this question from Carl. What happens if your business doesn't want to invest in you or design? Again, it depends. Sometimes they just don't know they want to invest in you in design because they maybe see design as a cost right now. They see it as a money spending function. But as soon as you start showing that design can actually bring extra revenue, that can solve strategic problems, that can do much more than currently is trusted by the CEO, then they'll be like, of course, take my money. You just brought us the new market share. You decreased our cost per acquisition from our marketing spend. This budget is yours. But if for any reason you work in a company when there is no future, then what can I say? Consider other options. The future should be bright for you as an individual as well as for us as a society. So see what you can do. And as always, you can start something of your own. That's the beauty of it. If you can't find what you need, maybe it's a chance for you to start something that will make this change, will make your dreams possible. So maybe consider while you're having this job, start something on the side that will slowly grow, evolve, and do something incredible. All companies started small at some point and then grew into incredible organizations we all now admire. So maybe that's a chance and opportunity for you to start your dream. Today's the day. If you obviously have any other questions afterwards, feel free to message me on LinkedIn or email the team. You should have one of our team members on the email who was sending you updates about this particular session. If you like hearing more about how to bring the value of design to the organizations, if any of this was helpful, feel free to follow Future London Academy on LinkedIn and on Instagram. We try sharing these insights from the industry for free with everyone at any time. I feel like we all should try to progress in the industry in the right direction. And the more of the work that we do in this direction, the easier the work will be for all of us. So we constantly try to share the tips on how to show the value of design to business leaders, how to scale your design businesses, how to be more successful as a design leader. I also try to share my own personal thoughts on my own LinkedIn. So if that helps you, again, I'm very lucky and fortunate to have many conversations with incredible chief design officers and design leaders and CEOs across my career. So again, feel free to follow the content that we create. Otherwise, I want to wish all of you a fantastic evening. Hopefully this was helpful and insightful for you. And feel free to, again, if you haven't done already, connect with whoever shared their profiles. Who knows? Again, you never know. This might be your magic day. Actually, I had someone recently who came to me after a conference and said that they found a friend during one of our webinars, and not just a friend, a collaborator. They worked on a project together afterwards. So you never know. You never know. You might find someone who will be close to your heart. Either way, thank you so much for staying for the whole evening with me. I know it's a lot of information to take on, especially if it is late for you. And thanks again for joining, and until next time, bye.